Alright, hello boys and girls. This is our first lesson on Photopea. I'm going to go pretty quickly with this so you can always rewind it or play it back as many times as you need. Alright, here we go. File, new. We're working on our animal hybrid project right now, so we're going to call it animal hybrid 1. We're going to make sure it's under inches. Our width, we'll make these wide. So let's make these 11, and the height is going to be 8.5. The DPI or resolution will be 300 like always, and we're going to hit create. So now we have our composition. Control minus or control plus is still zoom. Some of the shortcuts still work. Some of them are a little different than you're used to because it's in a browser, so just be aware of that. All right, so say we want to get an image. First thing we're going to do, I already found these images, so I'm going to just find an image that I like. This one's pretty nice. So this one's actually a little better zoomed in, but make sure I get the large image. I click and drag that to the desktop. I find an image I like and make sure it's the large image. Also check the numbers, make sure the resolution is pretty good. I have those two images now saved on my computer. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click and drag them in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to notice that when I click and drag, it warps, right? If I hold shift, it will no longer do that. So be aware that it might be a little laggy because you're in browser and also depending on the internet at your house. So now we got that. What we're now going to do is I'm just going to put this tiger face on it. We're just going to do some simple stuff at first because you're getting used to a new program. All right, so I'm going to click and drag that into the desk, into the layers. I now have two layers. What I want to do is I want to take this tiger head and I want to put it on the elephant or the gorilla. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity of my tiger layer. I'm going to click the move tool to make sure I have the move buttons. I'm going to remember to hold shift every time I make something larger. You might wonder, why am I making this transparent? I'm making it transparent so I can make sure it fits well over the head of the gorilla. So you can use this, the opacity, which means how see-through it is, how much you can see through that layer. You can use that to make sure it matches well above the layer underneath. So I see that if I hit Control plus and zoom in, I can see, okay, that matches pretty well. Like the eyes seem to be over the head, it seems to be over the head. So I'm going to now raise the resolution back up to 100. Now it's time to make the mask to cut this head out, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it rough for now just to get a basic idea. I'm going to just use the lasso tool to click and drag around the head where I want the head to be. So I selected my area. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mask, but remember that trick about feathering the edge of it so it doesn't look super photoshopped. It'll take some practice to get a good number, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to show you, okay, let's go a lot just to show you an exaggerated example of it. So I've chosen my feathering, so it's going to blur the edges, right? 12 pixels. That's going to be a lot, but you'll get to see really what I'm talking about. So now to mask, the masking button is right here, add raster mask. That's basically cutting it out, right? So now I cut out the face. You can see it's cut out. The blur isn't as much as I was hoping, but hey, you get the basic idea. So you can play around with the feathering. All right, so now if I control minus, I have my basic composition. That's the idea, and that's how you do this. So let's now save what we've created. We're going to go to File. We're going to go to so save as a PSD because if we ever want to go back and work on it, we can do that. So now notice that it's saved onto my computer. If I look at Show in Finder, I can see that it is now in my Downloads folder, okay, on my computer. So now I'm going to go to, now I've saved my PSD again in the Downloads folder. Now I have to save my JPEG. So I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go to Export As. I'm going to go to JPG or a JPEG, right? Notice that there is a PDF as well, but we're going to stick with the JPEG. So our quality, we're going to, depending on your Wi-Fi, you might not want to have it too high, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with like 71 is fine. So I'm just gonna leave all that. Make sure it says JPEG. Do not attach media. Okay, that's all fine, and just hit save. And now you can notice that it's saved down in that folder. If I go into my downloads folder, I can see both files, my PSD and my JPEG. I can double click and I can open and see this, and I can upload this into Schoology like normal, and that's your first project composition done, your first composition. Your second composition now once should be a little more complicated. Once you do your first one, you basically are getting no Photopea, but just really make sure you get the idea. So practice, because we're going to be doing more projects if this continues.